way too much for you. All I took, but it seems like it can't come through. All them lies that you could satisfy me. Now I see what believing you got me. Gave you the world, but you didn't. Can you keep up? Can you keep up? Can you keep up?
Today's video is going to be about highlighting and contouring slash baking, all the good stuff. I'm not sure if what I'm going to be doing in this video is considered baking. I kind of changed up my routine as far as how I set my highlight and my contour, so I guess you can consider it baking because I will be setting powder on my face, but it just won't be a lot of powder. Depends on how I feel, so don't quote me on that. Right now I have on my eyebrows and I use my handy dandy Brow. This is the number 5. I love this stuff so much. I don't use anything else for my brows. I am obsessed with this stuff. And I also have on foundation, and the foundation that I have on is my Maybelline Fit Me, and this is in the color Mocha, so it's a drugstore foundation. This is my everyday foundation that I wear. So the first thing that I'm going to do is highlight, and I'm going to be highlighting with my LA Girl Pro Concealer. This is in the color Fawn. And you're gonna also need like a beauty blender. I know mine look dirty because I just did my foundation, so it's not dirty, I just used it. And what you want to do is put some concealer underneath your eyes. I tried not to go so far towards my waterline. I try to keep it right underneath so when you blend it in, it won't be so cakey, because my under eyes crease because I frown a lot, I make a lot of faces, so I have lines. And I guess you can say that I'm putting like a generous amount underneath my eyes because I do like to look highlighted. That's the whole point of highlighting your face. So I put the concealer underneath my eyes, my chin, and my forehead. Now you're going to take your damp beauty blender and you're going to blend that out. And what I like to do is I like to start with my chin just to get some of that concealer on there, because sometimes when you're blending out your concealer, it takes away the concealer. So I try to make sure that I blend out my chin first so that it's some concealer on the sponge, and then I blend my concealer under my eyes out. And I take whatever is kind of like left on my sponge and I bring it down the bridge of my nose, because I don't want a lot on my nose. So I don't know if you guys can tell the difference, but it's a little highlighted right there. Then just blend out the rest of your concealer. And what I like to do is I like to kind of blend my concealer from the higher part of my eyebrow to the other part. So this half of moon right here is where I focus my concealer, just so you won't highlight your whole forehead. Okay, so my concealer is blended out, and what I like to do is take my Sacha Buttercup setting powder, same beauty blender, and I go in there like lightly, and then I knock off the excess powder. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to press the powder onto my concealer. So I guess you can consider this baking since it's so much powder. Take some down the bridge of your nose, and I like to just press it on my forehead, whatever's left. Because I try not to use so much powder on my forehead because it affects my eyebrow. Like every time I do my eyebrows, there be so much powder in my brows that I have to like touch them up, which I still might have to do, but I try to limit how much powder I use for my forehead. I like to set the rest of my face, and I'm going to be using the Maybelline Fit Me, but I'm going to be using the matte and poreless pressed powder. So this is the same brand as my foundation, but this is the powder. And to contour my face, I'm going to be using a powder contour. I'm not going to use cream contour because I don't normally cream contour my face. So I want to take my BH Cosmetics 114 brush and just like basically brush it onto the powder and set the rest of my face. I'll set my eyelids with this powder because if you don't set your eyelids, that foundation will start creasing and just start looking really greasy. So I make sure that I set my eyelids as well. So before I contour, I'm going to brush away the Sacha Buttercup. But what I'm going to use to brush away the powder is, you can use any, like, I guess face powder that's kind of like mineralized to give you some color back into your face. So the powder that I'm using is by Sephora, and this is their Micro Smooth Bake Face Compact. So it's kind of like my color, you know, but it's a little light, just so I can give some color back to my face and it's not so like ashy. I'm going to also be using my Sephora contour brush. Even though this is a contour brush, I like that it's kind of like tapered so I can like get underneath my eyes. So I'm using this Sephora contour brush. So take some and then I'm going to brush away, lightly brush away. Because sometimes when I'm brushing too hard, like it's like a patch of darkness, like I rubbed all the powder off. So I'm lightly like brushing away the excess powder, which is, it's not even a lot on my face, so you don't have to like go ham and start scrubbing your face with the brush. Now to contour my face, I'm going to be using this Ruby Kisses 3D Contour Artist Palette, and I got this from my local beauty supply store, and guess how much it was? It was like $3.99. $3.99. I always try to, you know, try different types of powders, and I'm familiar with the RK by Kiss brand, so I just wanted to try it and see how I liked it. And it's pretty much the same to me as the NYX Highlight and Contour palette. So, but the only thing I like about this palette is that it has more browns in there. And the contour palette by NYX have like these pinks and yellows in here that I don't even use. I just use the browns out of it. So once I use all of the browns out of it, the palette is pretty much dead to me. It's the same brush to contour my nose, but I'm going to use the lightest powder, which is this one right here. I'm gonna be using this one. So I'm just taking some on my brush, knocking off the excess. And then I'm going to focus this first in like this deep corner of my eye, and then I bring it down to my nose. So now that I'm highlighting and contoured, I'm going to lightly highlight. I'm going to try to be subtle with my highlight today. And the highlight that I'm using is this Bronze Booster Medium to Light. It looks like this. And I got this from Walmart. It was $15, but it's the best $15 I spent on a drugstore highlight. And I'm taking like this random brush. I feel like this is by e.l.f. because I got it from Target a long time ago. But it don't have a name on it, but I think it's from e.l.f. So I'm just taking some of this. But before I do that, I spray my face first. So I'm going to be using my NYX Dewy Finish long lasting spray. And when you spray your face with any type of setting spray, it gets rid of like the powdery look. So I'm going to be generous with this because I like to drench my face. Now I'm going to take a smaller brush to add highlight to my brow bone and right here. And I'm taking the BH Cosmetics 122 brush. I'm just going to add a little bit on my brow bone.